And Sophie too.
Okay, welcome everybody. So today we will have a special guest. Our special guest is Angela, and she will be leading a discussion about how to thrive in the overwhelming ecosystem, which is a topic for me personally. I'm very curious on the topic. And I see how many people we have this time, and I'm very happy to welcome Angela.
Thank you so much, Juliana. I'm wondering if you guys would be okay with participating. Are you okay with talking if you have an answer to any of the questions? I have a bunch of questions, and I'm wondering if I'm out here by myself. So yeah, we could just do the thumbs up method. That's perfect. So in Fund 8, are you a proposer, a CA, a BCA, a member of a Catalyst-related Discord, Telegram, Twitter, a community member? Are you just receiving regular emails? Any of those? Can you put your thumbs up? Cool. I don't know how to ask this, but are any of you attending Catalyst meetings? And about, on average, if you put it into the chat, how many meetings are you attending in a week? If you were to do a quick mathematical. Yeah, I hear you, Vanessa. I hear you. Many. Okay. How long do they run on average? In hours? On average, a short meeting is how long and a long meeting is how long, and how many minutes would you say a meeting in Catalyst runs? We've just been through a 1 hour one and we're not done yet.
Maybe reading the answers or some answering will be better, because I don't think on the record we will see the chat. So okay. If someone look at this, will be kind of like weird. So for me, it's the longest. If I have to answer, the longest I think I can participate is 3 hours, and the shortest are best. But for me, longer are not productive at all. Like after an hour, I'm off and try to figure out what I'm doing.
Is it by your decision, or is it because the meeting is over?
The meeting, yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing that people who have 1 to 2 meetings that last about 1 hour on the low end, and some people have over 15 meetings that are lasting. Okay, this is not necessarily mathematical, over 3 hours. So my point is, it's quite a big workload, right? You are as busy as you choose to be, but it can get pretty crazy, right? Emilia, is it Emilia or Emilia? Would you mind correcting me? Hi. You are unmuted, but I can't hear you.
Emilia.
Emilia.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Hi.
Hi.
Emilia, you said
Emilia
that.
From Ghana.
Welcome.
Thank you.
2 hours or 1.5 hours is the average length of meeting.
Yeah.
May I ask one final question? How many funds have you guys been involved in? Is Fund 8 your first one? Or
as a or as a CA or what?
As anything, like since you started lurking, I'm assuming you were a lurker. How many funds has it been?
3, 2, I'm 2. since the beginning of Fund 7. I see 3, 2, 3. Fund 3, Sophie. Cool.
Wow, 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 wow. We have some old dogs in the house. Did I see Fund 3, Sophie? Wow. How are you still alive? Well, perhaps you can let us know. I, in particular, have, I think, signed up for too many things. And so one of the things that Catalyst, we tend to struggle with in Catalyst is you are as busy as you choose to be. So if you've chosen to be busy, you can be absolutely ridiculously busy. So I'm playing the role of coder. I've been a Plutus Pioneer. I've been an Atala Prism Pioneer. I've been an active community member in meetings like just General Catalyst. I have been a CA, been a BCA, and a challenge team member. And so I completely can hear you if you're feeling overwhelmed. Like yeah, it's a lot. I started lurking in Fund 5 and have since done all that pretty silently and pretty quietly. This is actually crazy to have my camera on. I think I swore I'd never let this happen, but hey. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for listening. And thank you for getting involved, and hopefully we can take this conversation further. So overwhelm doesn't just happen within your chosen workplace, right? Overwhelm is sort of when you have just too many things going on in your brain and you don't know what to make a priority or how to go about prioritizing what you have to do. Overwhelm can happen within a family situation. It can happen within a World War III situation. It can happen within a COVID situation. It can happen within just the amount of stuff we have going on in Catalyst. And I have to keep reminding myself that when I signed up, the first thing I ever heard was Catalyst may disorient, overload, and inspire you. So how many of you guys are in disorient mode? Couple of you, not that many. How many of you in overwhelm mode? How many of you are just feeling inspired and you're like, let's do this? Right? Okay, love it. So I would like to tackle the whole things may break situation. Has anyone experienced things breaking in the funds that you've been a part of? How did that feel? Would anyone like to share?
Just my heart, Angela, just my heart.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Steve.
Hi,
Anyone else
Angela.
feel, hi.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sofia. I am from Argentina and I'm 21 years old. Currently, I am studying medicine, and well, this is my first experience on Cardano. And well, I work for innovation. I'm the community leader of this of the community. And well, this is my first experience, and the first the first C was kind of shocking because there was so many new concepts and ideas. And well, now I'm more comfortable, but at the first I was very confused.
What was confusing?
I used to work for a co-working company here in Buenos Aires, and I have an idea about blockchain and that, but like now currently I'm learning a lot, and there was a lot of things I didn't know.
Are you finding the learning exciting and like motivating, or is it draining and a bit too much?
No, it's funny. Because with my coworker we have a really nice relationship, and he taught a lot of to me, and I really curious about this world, and well, I really like it.
You found your space?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
No, fortunately, it's good to find your space. It's always a good place to be. Who feels like they've signed up for too many things? Hands up, thumbs up, anything up. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for being here. I don't necessarily have any conclusions for you, but I was hoping that we could just sort of have a acknowledgement of the stress that is possible when you're in this space. And that's all I'm really here to do. I know that finding the right information in a timely manner is quite tough. How many people have been able to access the information they were looking for in a time that was convenient to them? And would you mind sharing maybe what information you were looking for and how you went about finding it eventually? Hey, Nadia.
One of the things that I noticed is that we just had this experience a while back, this week actually, when someone had an idea that he brought up, and because he brought the idea up, there was a lot of support around this idea, and then he posed the idea more broadly to the community. So it was like it's kind of a smaller group discussion, and then he started to kick it out and see, and then so many different examples of how this was being thought about were presented to him, and some none of us knew about, some that were more sort of broadly known, some that were from previous funds, some that happened. And I think sometimes you don't know, especially if you come to Catalyst newer, you don't necessarily know what has been done, why it's been done, what was the thinking behind it. Have we grown to a place where it can be changed or is no longer relevant? And sometimes that I think that alone is very disorienting, not necessarily knowing what you're looking for, or if you should be looking for it, or if there's something comparable to it that exists already, who are the people working on it, that kind of thing. The decentralization of information, I think, is something we're always sort of knowing, and that's a positive thing in that in that situation, because so many collaborations were made possible immediately just from him thinking about it and sharing it. But if you go for a while, like trying to create that thing or bang your head against the wall because it doesn't exist, and then you find out later, and that happens to you multiple times, it starts to get really frustrating. And I think that's like a key thing. Like, and eventually you start to learn to say, does this exist yet? You ask questions differently than you did in the beginning when you got here. So that's an experience I've definitely had over this time.
I like what you're saying about the decentralization of information. And while in some ways that's what we're trying to achieve, on an entry journey, that can be pretty tough. And I have plenty of examples of that in my own life, in Catalyst. it can be quite the journey. Sophia, do you still have your hand up?
Me?
Yes, your hand is up. Is it a comment or?
I didn't hear.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Steve,
Can you repeat it, please?
just wondering if your hand is up. That's okay. Steve?
Yeah, you know what I found, since I've gotten involved in Catalyst and tried to, assimilate all this information besides the basic core blockchain concepts, is that once you get into the community, it's like there's this ongoing shuffling of, we all kind of have the same insights, but we're on different waves, right? And then there's that overarching wave that we're all riding on. And so when it comes to deciding, what to focus on for me personally, which part of the community or which project or which technical thing, then you kind of also have to figure out when is the best time to work on these things, for yourself, but also within the community. Like, I'm still kind of in shock at how late in the game the Cardano community is with DIDs, right? Once I knew that there were standards for decentralized identity, I was like, well, why don't we have them? And but there's lots of problems to getting to that, even though the concept and even the standards are pretty laid out and pretty obvious, and yet we still don't have them. But that gets back to another issue that we have, technically, is like, where do you store information? Because it's too expensive to do it on the blockchain. And then there's all these governance issues. I mean, there's lots of problems. There's lots of opportunities, but when to work on them? When is the necessary infrastructure that would actually help you solve a problem? When is it actually there? Because it's hard to know where there is when you're in the middle of here. So that's just sharing my confusion. Thank you.
I hear you. Trying to navigate you, and you're not sure exactly where you should be going, and you're not sure exactly which crew you need, and you're not sure exactly like how to get there. It's definitely a lot. Would anyone else like to comment on what you find overwhelming in the space, and perhaps how are you still here today? A pessimistic way of putting it. Would anyone else like to share? Else is probably the wrong word.
Yeah, I can share my way to survive. So mostly saying no to 90% of the things, because I'm not it. So Catalyst is not my only thing as everyone else, but I've been my whole life, I've been like that. So I cannot do only one thing. I must do many things. And through the time, because I'm just sitting on the couch or something like that, it's I just need to be very active. And it was very overwhelming, and especially because I was pretty busy before Catalyst, and now after Catalyst, the situation is especially the first months, maybe the first 2-3 months was very difficult. And at some point, so as you said, like practicing decision making, and I accepted that as a very great challenge. And I said like, okay, so now it's even more difficult. So that is a great challenge to learn how to practice better decision making. And I started to learn how to practice better decision making because I have this challenge. So if you don't have challenges, you do not grow, and you are not able, for example, to become better decision maker. So I started to analyze everything and to say no to myself, because basically it's you, the person that who say yes to this and to everything. So I started to say no to myself, which is, it is tough. It requires a lot of time and it requires a lot of practice. But I think the positive thing here is that it is great to have a challenge, because if you don't have challenge, you cannot grow.
I like what you're saying about decision making and growing decision making skills and just growing in general. Emilia, did you have something to say? No? Yeah. Figuring it out. So it's also quite
Hi.
stressful when.
Hi.
Yes,
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that when I started it last year, when I got into the catalyst, it was so overwhelming. I didn't even know what was. So I was learning Fund 7 CA, and then this Fund 8. I could stay into the nights around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. assessing proposals, and I asked myself why, and the answer was, just getting value for myself. I was gaining a lot of knowledge from the different proposals, a lot of knowledge that I didn't know. And as I kept on doing it, I loved it. Though the things are many, I'm enjoying it, taking it gradually, and I think it's a good thing, catalyst, and I hope we can talk to other women who are also knowledgeable, who can read and write, who have university degree, even come on board to also gain knowledge and share with others. So that's what I
Thank
can
you.
say. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, late nights. So one of the things that flowing in Catalyst can do is affect your sleep cycle. Has everyone been getting enough sleep in the last few months? Just yes if you have, no if you would like more. So sleep can be a thing with the time zones. Sleep can be a thing with the worry. Sleep can be a thing with just your general weather patterns in your city. Sleep can be attached to the mood. But it can also be about responsibility. So who here is responsible for building their own startup? Who here has a proposal out and is responsible for making sure that it happens, and that you are, if it is to be, it is up to be mode. Plenty, quite a few of us, yeah. How many of us are currently running a company that has successfully been funded? How many of us are working in someone else's team, of someone else who had a dream? You're working to build, not necessarily someone else's dream, but you've grown yourself, you've attached yourself to one or many companies that are working in this space. So here's the power of collaboration. But going back to sleep, it's tiring taking on being responsible for changing the world, eh? it can be a struggle. And we are walking towards a huge dream, but it's one thing to sort of say that looks good, and it's another thing to walk that path. It's a whole other thing to code it yourself, or find a team, or once you found a team, manage the team, or market it once you've built it, and so there's this challenge after challenge after challenge. And I'll just go to the next question. Have you been eating healthily in whatever you have decided healthy is for you? Have you been eating well? Have you moved to the midnight ramen train?
They need an emoji for this. Where's the emoji for this?
Kind of, sorta, ish. Maybe. For those of us, coffee, the coffee lifestyle. Ooh, how many cups are we on a day? Oh dear. But that might be, you don't have to say, but feel free, how many cups? And are you okay with that? Or is it too many at this point? And is it now affecting your sleep? Well, coffee is a whole thing. Have you gotten enough vitamin D? Have you been going outside? In the winter, if you're in the northern hemisphere? Has the sun seen you? Have you seen the sun? Are you strangers?
I try to.
You try to go outside. It's tough with this
Yeah.
the introvert Zoom
It's
life
like
can
an obligation. Yes.
be tough.
There's my outside.
Oh dear, session. Come on now. Come on now. So the last one, have you been staying hydrated? Do you drink enough water? This is a reminder to everyone who's like, to go drink a cup of water, like right now, especially if your camera's off. Go get a glass of water. Let's stay hydrated and let's stay alive, because it all kind of builds up. It all kinds of, it can get to you eventually. And I've certainly been there, where 1 hour less of sleep here, one extra, hour of Zoom here, and eventually I'm a stranger to outside. And so, and so I'd like for us to remember to stay healthy and to adult correctly, and to do the best that you can with, right? Adulting is a challenge. It is a challenge. So now I'm really getting into your business. I don't know if you're ready. Is your current work surface clean? The one in front of you. You don't have to say anything, but work surface, yeah, the area that surrounds you. Mine is terrible right now, but I wouldn't show you. I need to.
It is because I'm not in my home, but it wouldn't.
How many of the people with the cameras off are currently in bed? Wait, what time of day is it? No judgment. I'm not judging. Just Dimitri. Well, it's like, what time is it there? It's fine. Dimitri's allowed. keeping your workspace clean. And this is me talking to myself. This is me talking to myself. And an extension of that would be your bedroom. An extension of that would be your mode of transport, if you are blessed enough to have one. Keeping your space tidy is very important, because the reason I haven't cleaned my desk is because I have a receipt that I need to take to my accountant. And so I have left it there to remind me that I need to run that errand. And so that is something that I need to do. And the reason I've left it there is because it's unfinished business. And the reason it's a mess is because I have plenty of unfinished business. And so, you know, clean mind, clean life. Not that I'm your mother, but anyway. So now your body, have you been taking your medicine? Have you been, yeah, I'm not making any assumptions about where people are at, but if you've been given medicine to take, have you been taking it? Have you been taking your vitamins? Yeah, because all of this is leading to, why are we participating in Catalyst? So some people are participating because they're supporting people during World War III. Oh no, Angela, no, people are skipping medicine. Oh dear. How many people are supporting other humans, whether they're young or old? Parents in the house? People with partners? People with, yeah. You can't take care of other people if you're not taking care of yourself. And so if you're in charge of the financial situation in, you know, whether it's just about you or whether it's about other people, you can prioritize money. And that is definitely one of the reasons you can get overwhelmed in Catalyst, is choosing to make a, not profit, but to make money. And that can be a whole journey. Sophia. Hi, Sophia, your hand is up.
No, it was because of the last question.
Okay. So finally, in terms of your or our work space, in terms of relationships with people, in the groups that you're in Catalyst, have you made friends? Have you met new people? Hands up. Vanessa's right, we've got to eat, we've got to eat. I'm loving the fact that so many people have met new people and have made friends. Would anyone like to share some of the amazing strangers from around the world that you've come to know and possibly love? Who's met someone cool? Nobody? Your hands are all up. Angela needs friends. Let's sign up. Alexa.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I would say I initially met Maria, and she's actually been on Cardano Women a few times. For everyone that may not know, Cardano Women is an evolving Twitter space. We have a Discord, things like that. We're just a resource, you know, for women involvement in Cardano. We are primarily active on Twitter. And so Ali Illustrated and myself, we've kind of jumped into Catalyst here and there. But yeah, we're just so busy. So we're doing our best. And yeah, basically we, in the Discord, we have a Catalyst section, trying to just get everyone interested and talk about Catalyst as much as possible. But yeah, so I would say a really cool person I've met through Catalyst would be Maria, and I'm really happy to have met her. There's also a few others. You know, you just know so many people and then you forget their names. But if they come to me, I'll mention them in the comments.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be, but it can get a bit overwhelming. And I'm not being a downer. I'm just saying, I hope you hear me. I'm not whining. So have you managed to maintain adequate relationships with your Cardano colleagues? Or do you have a situation where you need to say something and you have either not found the time or not found the confidence to say it? Have you witnessed conflict in any of your workspaces? Would anyone like to comment?
Well, in my team, we have a really nice relationship. We are kind of the same age, so we really trust each other, and we have a lot of confidence.
Steve?
Yeah, I was actually talking to James about this the other day because, you know, like with my family and friends, they get more shallow, right? The relationship, you know, like they're not interested or they don't understand how I'm spending my time. And my partner, Kelly, she works from home and she works, you know, she's the editor for a local monthly newspaper, and she's involved in a couple of the local nonprofits, and you know, and it's work, you know, it's real work, and she spends a lot of time, and that's been really nice for us because we've gotten to know people that are kind of outside of what we would normally gravitate to for friends and relationships. But even, you know, even for her, those are just under the auspices of the work that she does, and so there's like no real deep contact there. And you know, like I go hang out with my family because for some unknown reason they all moved here where Kelly and I are, and I don't know why, but they're all here. But we go hang out with them, and you know, we can spend 3-4 hours with my whole family and they won't ask us one single question, right? It's just their stream of consciousness, blah blah, chat, chitter chat, you know. And you know, I was talking to James about this because I you know, because we are really into this work, we get deep about it, and we get deep about why we want to get deep about it. And they have become de facto family on this level, my de facto best friends, even though, you know, most of them I haven't met. I got the chance to go to the Wyoming summit. And so it solidified a couple of the relationships with people from Gimbal Labs that were there, as well as other people in the community who were there. And that's been a surprise to me, you know. And I think it's kind of been a longer process that started before I even got involved with crypto and Cardano, because you know just how easily inflamed people became during Trump's presidency. You know, it just, there's no rhyme or reason for why people get mad anymore, and what they get offended by, and what they feel like is wrong with one side or the other side. And I don't know how to talk to them about it. You know, like like for me, you know, like this Cardano is like, you know, getting involved in this is the solution from all that vapid mass media commercial marketing and propaganda that we live in, you know, if we choose to subject ourselves to it, you know. And so it's tricky. I mean, you know, like and this was nothing I could have predicted, you know, the curve of my relationships, you know, over the last 10 or 15 years. I would have never thought that these kinds of things would happen. So I don't know.
Thanks for sharing. Has anyone else spent so much time on Cardano that their family is more distant than they previously were? Vanessa.
Not exactly that, no, but I'm a participatory artist, and it's the kind of job that people love to ask you questions about, and they'll all be like, oh, what project are you doing now? But I find that since I got involved in Cardano, people don't want to know. They don't ask the question, what are you working on? Because they don't want to know, they're not interested. And I think there is a perception that, oh, it's boring, or it's kind of scammy, or some other such thing, and people are not keen to. But then saying that, the other week I was in the pub with my kind of poetry crew, and I was sat at another table. I came over to find out what a group of people were talking about, and they were talking about crypto, and I just kind of walked away. I was just like, I can't. I really can't.
That's not why I'm in the pub.
Exactly.
I was actually at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro where there was like nobody. And the guy next to me was talking about crypto. And I was like, that's crazy. That, like, I thought I was far, far away from all that. That was pretty crazy. I guess what I'm asking is, have you managed to find, all of us, have we managed to find a balance between private relationships and full-time work? Or is that a struggle? Some kind of emoji, people.
That's $1 million question. I think everyone wants to know this, the answer of this question.
Because you can become kind of all work and no play. And personally, in my time zone, all the meetings in the states that are conveniently timed are sort of from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. and they can go further and they can go, a bit earlier. And so I'm not complaining, but I have chosen in the past 6 months to hold too many jobs because I have a full-time job, and then I come home and this is what I do. And I've spread myself a bit too thin. So I'm going to have to make some decisions. And I don't know if anyone else is in a similar situation or if, but I have to remind myself about why I'm involved in Catalyst. And my personal motivation for being involved in Catalyst is that I hope that I can play a small part in improving the situation in Africa, which is a big and la-di-da thing to say, but I was really inspired by that particular train of thought. And so I've made sacrifices in order to grow in this way, but at the same time, I'm now. So would anyone else like to share why are you involved in Cardano? Why are you still here?
I like the idea that blockchain makes it so that we're all on the same team. Whatever you're building, or he's building, or she's building, it's all contributing to Cardano, which means we all win. And that's a pretty amazing thought. It makes me want to help others that are with their projects because we're all on the same team. It's pretty powerful. And then, yeah, I mean, I wrote a tweet about it, actually. It actually went really viral. It actually went kind of viral. I'll read it. I said, holders of ADA usually infer these qualities to me. 1, you're smart with the capacity to understand what Cardano is going to do. 2, you've got a big heart. You support what Cardano will contribute to the world. And 3, you're an independent thinker. You don't follow the crowd. Qualities that I want in friends.
Well said, well said. Wow, that's powerful. And it's true. It's very true. Amelia is saying that she's involved in Cardano because she loves community work and she wants to better the lives of others, and Cardano is decentralized to benefit communities, and Africa is not left out. Absolutely. Absolutely. Angela's saying, just like me, she wants to be a part of changing Africa, but especially helping African women. Cool. Who else would like to share what they're up to? What are you up to? Why are you here? Alexa.
Yeah, I think it kind of started out as investing. It kind of started out as, oh, I want to, maybe have passive income or just like be more connected with the future of technology. And I think after getting involved, the concept of community is there, and the concept of being independent, whether you're a freelancer, artist, or collaborator, contributor. I think the independence and the freedom that we can gain from building on a platform like Cardano and realizing the stability and longevity and the progress that can be made is also just stacks on top. It just confirms like, oh wow, this is actually something really special. It's really different, and we're all pioneers in a way. This hasn't been done before. We don't know what the future is going to hold, and for some people that's scary, and for some people, I guess like us, we think it's exciting and we want to do everything we can to kind of like be a part of it, take that time to teach others, and to just, we all know we're capable and we all just want the same thing, and that's just to be happy and to spend time with the ones we love without the hassle of life, because there's so much to life regarding just existing, taxes, businesses, everyone wants a piece of the pie. And I just think decentralization really puts the power into more of the people's hands, and people are more willing to listen to each other. So that's kind of why I came and I stayed.
Thanks, Alexa. So, Megan says, my goal is to help the world become more equitable, bringing voices to the currently voiceless. European American hegemony have silenced the voices and the views of the little guy for too long, in my opinion. And I'm sure lots of the non-English speaking world could make great, brilliant strides in tech and blockchain if we simply make it accessible to everyone else. Vanessa says, because I believe Cardano could shift the balance of power in the world, and a song by Victor Jara in the 70s, and she's left a link for us to all go through. Sosha, hi.
Hi. Yeah, I think for me, it's about sort of like the new way of communication, and in a way that's technology, but that does have a huge impact on how we govern and how we make decisions and communicate as people, and how we form groups. And so I think like the systems that we had were based on the ways we had to communicate, like paper and things like that. And it caused a lot of centralization. And these new technologies, blockchain including, but also just internet, we haven't really fully explored what we can do to build new systems using those ways of communicating and establishing trust. And I guess I'm here because from my perspective, this was like one of the most interesting experiments in that direction. Sort of, it seems like the team behind it really wants to do that as well.
Thanks for sharing. So I'm going to wrap it up now so that I don't overwhelm you. May you stay well hydrated. May you have good food and may you sleep. May you have a gorgeous night's sleep. I wish you the best. See you around.
Thanks, Angela.
Everybody, bye.
Thanks for holding the space.
Thanks, session.
Thanks.
Bye. Juliana, you've got the video?
Yes, 1 second.